Your body is keeping a detailed record of every person who ever wronged you, and that record might be killing you right now. Scientists recently discovered something terrifying. When you hold on to anger, resentment, or bitterness for weeks or months, your body doesn't forget. It creates what neurologists call a pathological focus in your brain, a wound that never heals. And here's the kicker. This invisible wound has been linked to everything from autoimmune diseases to cancer. Your grudges aren't just emotional baggage. They're biological weapons pointed at yourself. Today, we're diving deep into something most doctors won't tell you: how to detoxify your emotional system before it destroys your physical one. Let me tell you about Sarah, 42 years old, successful lawyer. Went to the doctor complaining about chronic migraines, digestive issues, and unexplained joint pain. She had seen 7 specialists, tried everything, nothing worked. Until one doctor asked her a strange question: "Who are you angry at?" Turns out, Sarah had been nursing a grudge against her sister for 3 years. A betrayal, money issues, family drama, the usual stuff. But here's what wasn't usual. The moment she started addressing that resentment, her physical symptoms began to improve. Not slowly, dramatically. This isn't some mystical nonsense. There's hard science behind it. When you experience emotional stress, your body releases cortisol and adrenaline. These are survival hormones. They were designed for one purpose: to help you fight a predator or run from danger. Your heart rate increases, blood flows to your muscles. Your immune system temporarily shuts down because who cares about fighting off a cold when a tiger is chasing you? But here's the problem. Your body can't tell the difference between a tiger attack and your boss screaming at you in a meeting. The same chemical cascade happens. And if you don't discharge those stress hormones, they accumulate. They start eating away at your organs, your cardiovascular system, your gut, your brain. Think of it like this. Imagine you rev your car engine to maximum speed, but you never actually drive anywhere. You just keep the RPMs maxed out. Eventually, that engine will explode. That's what chronic emotional stress does to your body. Now, most people know they should reduce stress. Great advice. Completely useless unless you know how. Let's talk about the release valve, the ways to actually discharge these toxic emotions before they turn into disease. First, understand this. Your stress hormones were designed to be burned off through physical action, movement, exertion. When your ancestor ran from that tiger, the stress hormones got used up in the chase. The system balanced itself. But when you sit in traffic, fuming about the idiot who cut you off, those hormones have nowhere to go. They just circulate, and circulate, and circulate. So the simplest antidote is movement, but not gentle yoga or a leisurely stroll. I'm talking about intense physical discharge. Boxing. There's a reason hitting a heavy bag feels so satisfying. You're literally acting out the fight response your body was preparing for. Every punch releases a little bit of that accumulated tension. I've had patients tell me that 30 minutes with a punching bag did more for their anxiety than 6 months of talk therapy. Running, sprinting if you can. Your body thinks it's escaping danger. The stress hormones get metabolized. The system resets. One patient of mine started running every time he felt overwhelmed at work. Within 3 weeks, his blood pressure normalized. No medication needed. But maybe you're thinking, I'm 60 years old. I can't box. My knees are shot. I can't run. Fair enough. There are alternatives. Swimming is incredible for stress relief. The rhythmic breathing, the full body movement, the sensory deprivation of being underwater. It forces your nervous system to calm down. Plus, water has this almost meditative quality. Something about it washes away emotional residue. Walking works too, but it has to be brisk, purposeful, not a casual stroll. I'm talking about power walking like you're late for something important. Get your heart rate up, swing your arms. Make it physical. Here's something most people don't know. Your breathing controls your emotional state more than your thoughts do. When you're stressed, your breathing becomes shallow and rapid. But here's the fascinating part. The relationship goes both ways. If you force your breathing to slow down and deepen, your emotional state has no choice but to follow. There's a specific technique called coherent breathing. You breathe in for 5 seconds, out for 5 seconds. That's it. 6 breaths per minute. Do this for 10 minutes, and your heart rate variability improves. Your vagus nerve activates. Your entire nervous system shifts from fight or flight to rest and digest. I had a patient with severe anxiety, panic attacks 3 times a week, started doing this breathing exercise for 10 minutes every morning. Within 2 weeks, the panic attacks stopped, completely. No medication, just breathing. Now let's talk about something nobody wants to hear, but everyone needs to understand. Distracting yourself isn't weakness, it's strategy. Your brain can only focus on so many things at once. When you're obsessing over a problem, ruminating on an injustice, replaying an argument in your head for the 1000th time, you're strengthening that neural pathway. That pathological focus I mentioned earlier, you're literally training your brain to suffer. But if you deliberately create competing focuses, you weaken the original one. It's not about ignoring your problems, it's about not letting them monopolize your mental real estate. This is where hobbies become medicine, not relaxing hobbies, engaging ones, activities that demand your full attention. Learning a musical instrument, painting, rock climbing, competitive games, anything that puts you in a flow state. That state where you lose track of time because you're so absorbed in what you're doing. One of my patients took up pottery after his divorce. Sounds random. But he told me something profound. When I'm at the wheel, shaping the clay, I can't think about anything else. My hands are wet. The clay is spinning. I have to focus completely, or I ruin the piece. For those 2 hours, my brain gets a break from the anger, and when I leave the studio, the anger has less power over me. That's the key. You're not escaping reality. You're giving your nervous system permission to reset. Vacation isn't optional. It's biological necessity. There was a 40-year study, over 1,200 participants. The people who never took vacations died 37% earlier than those who did, even when both groups exercised and ate well. Even when both groups had access to health care. Let that sink in. Skipping vacation can literally shorten your life by years. Why? Because chronic stress without recovery is lethal. Your body needs extended periods of low stress to repair the damage that daily life causes. A weekend isn't enough. You need at least a week. Ideally, too, your cortisol levels need time to drop. Your immune system needs time to rebuild. Now, here's where we need to address the elephant in the room. The emotion that causes more disease than almost any other. Resentment. Holding a grudge is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. You've heard that before. But do you understand why it's literally true? When you rehearse your resentments, when you replay the injustice over and over, your body reacts as if the harm is happening right now. Fresh cortisol, fresh adrenaline, fresh inflammation. Every single time you think about it, you're re-traumatizing yourself, voluntarily, multiple times per day. I know what you're thinking, but they wronged me. I have a right to be angry. They should apologize. They should suffer. Maybe, probably. But here's the brutal truth. Your righteousness won't protect your health. The universe doesn't care who was right. Your body certainly doesn't. It just responds to the chemical signals. And those signals are destroying you. Forgiveness isn't about them. It's about you stopping the self-poisoning. There's a technique that sounds absurd but works better than almost anything else I've seen. It's called the forgiveness meditation, and yes, it feels stupid when you start. Here's how it works. You write down one sentence, I forgive person's name and accept them as they are. Or, if it's about a situation, I forgive life for what happened and accept it as it is. Then you copy that sentence, by hand, for 10 minutes, every day. When I first learned about this, I thought it was the dumbest thing I'd ever heard. Then I tried it with a patient who had ulcerative colitis and a massive grudge against her ex-husband. She was skeptical too, but desperate. She wrote the sentence for 10 minutes every morning, for 30 days. First week, nothing. She said it felt pointless. Second week, she noticed she was thinking about him less. Third week, her digestive symptoms started improving. By day 30, she told me something I'll never forget. I don't know when it happened, but I realized I don't care anymore. Not in a bitter way. I just genuinely don't care. And my stomach hasn't felt this good in 5 years. The science behind this is fascinating. You're literally rewiring neural pathways. The repetitive writing creates new associations. The act of writing "I forgive" over and over, even if you don't mean it at first, starts to create neurological change. Your brain begins to believe what your hand is writing. Here's the thing though. When you start this practice, you'll probably feel resistance. Your hand might cramp up. You might feel angry or sad. That's actually a good sign. It means you've found the wound. Keep going. Some people find that after forgiving one person, resentment towards someone else surfaces. That's normal. You're peeling layers off an onion. Just write a new sentence for the new person. Do this until you feel genuinely neutral about past hurts, not fake positive, not forcing yourself to smile, just neutral, indifferent, free. Let me bring this all together. Your emotional health isn't separate from your physical health. They're the same system. Every feeling creates chemistry, and that chemistry creates either vitality or disease. You have more control than you think. Movement discharges stress hormones, breathing regulates your nervous system, engaging hobbies interrupt destructive thought patterns, vacation allows biological recovery, and forgiveness stops the chronic self-poisoning of resentment. None of this is instant. This isn't a pill you take once and feel better. It's daily practice. But the results are real, measurable, life-changing. Start with one thing. Just one. Maybe it's 10 minutes of breathing every morning. Maybe it's finally booking that vacation you've been putting off. Maybe it's buying a notebook and writing your first forgiveness sentence. Your body is listening to every emotion you feed it. Make sure you're not accidentally poisoning yourself. Leave a comment below and tell me, what's one method you're going to try this week, and what emotional baggage are you ready to let go of? I read every comment. Subscribe to this channel for more.